This year, U.S. companies are on pace to bring 350,000 jobs back home from overseas, the highest number on record. For decades, American companies boosted their profit margins by offshoring, sending jobs to foreign countries to be done by workers there for lower pay. Typically, the jobs have gone to China or other countries in Southeast Asia. But that trend has been reversing, and American companies are now reshoring. I'm going to tell you why this is happening, what it could mean for the U.S. economy, and why it may not be an outright win for blue-collar American workers. Let's get into it.
GE Appliances, Stanley Black & Decker, and Caterpillar each reshored about 2,000 jobs over the last decade.
In 2022, U.S. companies like Intel and Micron, and even foreign companies like Honda and LG Energy, have announced plans for new U.S.-based factories and new jobs that had been largely or entirely done overseas. What happened? COVID-19 showed many companies that their just-in-time supply chains weren't strong enough to handle a major shock. And the war in Ukraine, tensions between China and Taiwan, and increasing droughts and extreme weather events illustrated that global uncertainties could stop businesses cold. The U.S. China trade war and tariffs introduced in recent years have also made it more expensive for companies to ship goods around the globe. On the other side, the CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act, which were passed this year, offer tax breaks and other incentives to companies for building and investing in the U.S. This could be a major boon for the economy, as American companies look to build and expand, and foreign companies look to move onto U.S. soil. Billions of dollars have already been pledged for new facilities making electric vehicles, batteries, semiconductors, and manufacturing equipment this year. And the U.S. is on pace to add more than 50 times the number of jobs that were reshored in 2010 this year. Companies are spending big. While this would be good news for the economy and large firms, the blue-collar workers whose jobs were outsourced and offshored may not have as much reason to celebrate. That's because a lot of what's motivating the reshoring trend is automation. Companies are investing in workers, but they're also buying robots that replace them. This is happening in manufacturing, but also in industries like trucking, agriculture, and retail. The Association for Advancing Automation reported that 12,305 robots were sold in the second quarter, a record high for the third quarter in a row. Research from MIT, published earlier this year, found that automation was the main factor behind rising wage inequality in the US. Dorana Semoglu, who co-authored the report, tells me he expects the trend of automation increasing inequality to continue. But he says robots can also create more jobs. And overall, the trend of companies opening up new factories and expanding their US operations is something the whole US economy should be excited about. Atlanta rapper J.I.D. reminds us to keep our priorities straight. He says, "Forget a net worth. I made $1 million off of merch. Pay the bills first, and then invest in guest verses." That's all for now. See you next time.